Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the week 8 of the Cube for All. And today, we are going to touch upon the CI/CD, the much-awaited automation for CI/CD pipelines, right? So we have seen in the last few weeks, we have seen how to containerize and deploy your applications. And we have shown you some of the quick start options to containerize your code to Kubernetes deployments. And we've talked about creating alert rules and notifications. And today, our agenda is to build Jenkins pipeline in just 5 minutes, right? So this is going to be a quick demo because it hardly takes 5 minutes to get the CI/CD pipeline in place. Before we jump into the demo, I would like to talk about some of the prerequisites that we need to keep ready before we go ahead and create this pipeline through gopaddle, right? And I will also talk about the nitty-gritties of how this whole pipeline works within gopaddle and some of the benefits of using this quick start wizard through gopaddle, right? So let's get started with the prerequisites. So all we need is a Jenkins endpoint. So we need a Jenkins environment up and running. We just need an endpoint and the user credentials with the user and the API token. I'm going to show you how to create an API token, but then we just need these two information to even create a pipeline in Jenkins. And we have to enable a few plugins like the generic webhook trigger and the pipeline plugins enabled in Jenkins environment. Now from gopaddle, we are going to enable CI and CD through a quick start wizard. And with CI, we will be able to build the containers right from the code. And this code repository can be from GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, be it hosted or even your self-hosted versions. And CD will do a rolling update. And in order to do a rolling update, we need a running application in gopaddle. So these are the prerequisites. So how to get an application up and running, how to create a container in gopaddle. I think the previous sessions we have really covered a step-by-step process of doing this. If not, I will show you some of the options through which you can really get started really soon. And then once we have all this, we are going to build the pipeline. So let me switch back to the gopaddle environment. So let me log in. So this is my demo account, and I'm going to start with the demo, and then I will show you the process by which this whole thing works. Okay, so as soon as we log in, so we have introduced a couple of quick start options. So the Dockerize and deploy is what we actually demoed a couple of weeks ago. You can start with the code, and then you can get your containers up and running on Kubernetes in just 5 or 6 clicks, right? So this is one quick start option. And now today we are going to talk about the workflows and creating pipelines. So before we do that, let's have a look at the prerequisites. So I have a running application, but however, this is not in the default project. So I'm going to switch over to a different project. So under this project, I have a Merge Social application, which is a Node.js application. And it has a couple of services within this application, right? So we are going to update this Merge Social application service within this application, right? So this is for the rolling update. In order to do the continuous integration, we need the container to be onboarded as a template or a definition or a metadata within this platform. So the quick start wizard for Dockerization will do this. Or if not, you can create a new container here by adding a new container, right? So all of this has been covered in the earlier sessions. So today, let's quickly check if this Merge Social container exists, and we have it, right? And we also have a couple of releases and source control repositories registered for these releases. So by using gopaddle, you get to manage multiple releases and distributions. So this is one such release that we have created, and under that release we have a code repository, and this is the code repository that we are going to refer to, and it is using a branch called second edition. So as soon as I commit something into this repo onto this branch, we should be able to build a Docker container, and then we should be able to update the running application using continuous deployment. Right, so this is one requisite that we need in order to do CI from gopaddle. Now let's take a look at the Jenkins environment, right? So in Jenkins, we have these plugins. Let's take a look at the plugins. Okay, so under install plugins, we should be able to see the generic webhook plugin. Yeah, this is the generic webhook trigger plugin, and then we have a pipeline plugin. So these two have to be enabled, and then we can create an API token for this particular user. By clicking on the profile, we can create a new API token, right? So I can create a new one, and let's say it is Q for all demo, and then generate a new token, right? So we can copy this token and use this for our quick start wizard. Let's get back to our quick start option. So we are going to just do this whole CI/CD pipeline in about 3 or 4 steps, and it hardly takes 5 minutes, right? So all we do is, we have an API token, this is a default token, we can just move on. And then we have to just select the application and the container that we want to update. Now, this is CI/CD works only for containers that come from source code, not a Docker image-based container, right? Say, suppose if you have a MongoDB, you can just take any of the MongoDB images from Docker Hub and then import it into gopaddle. So we don't support CI/CD for those kind of containers and services. We only support CI/CD for applications that are built from source code, right? So we have a Merge Social service, and within that we have a container called Merge Social. So we are choosing this particular release because this application itself is making use of this release and this particular distribution. So we choose the pipeline tool for continuous integration as gopaddle. So what this means is that the container gets built in gopaddle, and gopaddle in turn will make use of the cluster that is configured in your release. So we have covered those in the previous discussions, but the build actually happens within one of your Kubernetes environments, and you can choose build on commit to enable continuous integration. You can also scan for vulnerabilities. So if I choose enable, it gives you a set of options under which the vulnerability scan should fail. If we want if we want to fail this build, if any unknown vulnerabilities are discovered, then you can enable this, right? So for the time being, I'm not going to enable because this build will fail and it won't proceed to the rolling update. So for the time being, I'm not enabling the vulnerability scan, but I'll show you later, right? And then we move to the next step of creating the Jenkins pipeline. Now here we provide the Jenkins endpoint, which is nothing but your Jenkins endpoint without the user, and then you have the username separately. Provide the username and the API token that we just now created, right? So this is the API token. Okay, and then you have made sure that the plugins are available already, and then you can download a Jenkins configuration file. Okay, so this creates this configuration file has the specification for creating a pipeline code. And once you download the config file, we are going to use this curl command to create the job, right? So I have downloaded it under downloads folder. So from here, I have to just execute this curl command. Now what happens here is this is going to create a job with the config file that we just downloaded. So if we go back to Jenkins, so we have this new Merge Social job that just got created. Okay, so under this configure, so you see the postfix as 08 if3030. So this is the same config that we have used. So this has created a job with the corresponding postfix. And you will see all the required variables and the pipeline code has been automatically added into the Jenkins job. Right, so this does a rolling update for the application and the service and the container that we just chose, and has also made use of the API token to connect to the portal, gopaddle portal. All right, so now the pipeline code is ready, and we have to just add triggers and notifications. So we create a new notification channel to intimate any updates from gopaddle back to the Jenkins environment. And then we also add an alert rule. So I will talk about this in the next couple of slides. So we have completed the Jenkins pipeline now, right? It's not even 5 minutes, and then we are done with our pipeline creation. So once this is done, all we have to do is, just go and, write code and push the code to GitHub, and, gopaddle will take care of building it continuously and then deploying into the running application. So let's go back to the source code. So I have cloned the project already, and I'm going to, and I have checked out. Anyway, I can check out once again. So we are using the second edition branch, right? And then I'm going to make some changes. Let's say there is a file by name template.js. I'm going to just change this. So I'm going to change this to Learn Social CI/CD demo week 8. And then update this code. And I'm pushing the code. The moment I push this, now this is going to trigger a new build in gopaddle, right? So we can see it under builds and releases if a new build has been triggered. So we can see that this build 31 has just got triggered. And where is this getting built? So as I mentioned earlier, this is getting built inside a Docker, inside a Kubernetes environment that we have already provisioned. And we have configured it under the release. So you can find all those release configurations and those kind of details under managed releases. And we are in fact using this particular release. So under this, you can find out the cluster environments and you can change it. So you can have multiple build environments based on the release. And then here right now, we are making use of this GKE demo environment. And you can see all those builds are getting created in this particular cluster. So this would take a couple of minutes. So in the meantime, what we're going to do is to check the process, right? So let me explain how this CI/CD pipeline works. So these are the 4 different tasks which a developer would usually do, right? So he has to enable the CI, and then he has to, the moment he enables the CI from gopaddle, what happens is gopaddle goes ahead and then registers a webhook in the repository. This webhook will know as soon as any commits or merges happen. This webhook gets triggered, and then it performs a certain set of operations within gopaddle. So this is the first step that the user does. So he goes and enables the CI. Then we have to create a Jenkins job, which in turn will help updating the application, running application. This is the pipeline code for rolling update. And then comes the alert rule. So we have an alert rule which says, as soon as the build is completed, trigger a notification on the notification channel. So we talked about the alert rules and the notification channels in the week 5 of all the event handling within gopaddle. So one such alert rule is called create build. And as soon as a build is completed, this alert rule will get triggered. And this alert rule in turn will push the message back to the notification channel. And one of the notification channels we have would be this Jenkins job, right? So when the build is completed, it will trigger the Jenkins job. And then the Jenkins job will in turn trigger a rolling update on the running application. So when a user commits, so this is the whole process that happens. So it triggers the register webhook or the webhook event. And then from there, all the CI/CD process kicks off, right? So here, this explains the whole process. Now let's go back and then check what happened with this CI and the alert rules within gopaddle. So we can see under containers, under the Merge social container, we have a couple of releases. So we talked about this release, and we can also check the build configuration. You see that build on commit is enabled for this particular release. And then we also have alerts and notification channels created. So let's go to the alerts. So we see that build alert merge social rule has been created. And what this means is if the merge social container gets built, and when this event create build completes, then you have to send a notification to this particular notification channel. And if we look at the notification channel, so it is configured to trigger this webhook on this merge social job that I showed earlier. So this is very simple, and then we get this whole pipeline up and running in just a couple of minutes. So let's see it in working. So let's go back to the builds and see if it is completed. So the build is completed. So this should have actually triggered the the webhook trigger job. So let's go to the dashboard, and we see that it got executed and it was successful. So if we go here, we will see the console output. Yeah, the build got executed as well. So this has triggered a rolling update. Now we can go and check in the application if the rolling update has been completed. So we are looking at merge social service under revisions. We can see the revision history, right? So we have, this is the commit description we have given, and we see that it has updated the application seamlessly, right? Now, what is the advantage of doing this using gopaddle, right? We can build the pipeline using Jenkins through our own scripting, but the benefit that you get through gopaddle is that it's really, really quick and simple, right? You don't have to worry about writing any of the pipeline codes. All you have to do is to just choose the application and the container that you want to build, right? What if you don't have a running application? You don't have to worry about creating the complete pipeline code just like we saw earlier. You can just go to the container and enable CI, and I'm going to show that in a while. You don't have to have a running application, but if you have a running application and if you want to build a complete CI/CD pipeline, then you can go with this approach, right? And this CI works across all all sorts of source control repositories like GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, be it hosted or even on-premise. So there is no restriction on where this code can come from, right? So it can work across any of these source control repositories. And another benefit is that you can visualize all these pipeline updates. That I'm going to show the dashboard in a while. So you can see who updated it, who built it, and then when it got updated. Say if you have this application, when the application got updated. So all those kind of information can be seen from our dashboard, and it comes with zero cost. So when I say zero cost, so we talked about the community edition, which you can install on your local desktop or even on your cloud environments. So you can build this whole CI/CD pipeline even using your community edition. So there is no restriction, and that's completely a lifetime free edition, right? But if you want to go for more sophisticated options, like you want to have multi-cloud options and all that, then you can go for your SaaS or your enterprise editions. But for a community edition, all of this is totally free, and you can build this whole thing without any upfront investment. So let's go back to the dashboard to just see what I meant by the visualization of your pipeline. So under your events and alerts, you can see how many Jenkins alerts have been sent. And then you can also see the application events. So you can see 5 updates have happened since this application was launched. And you can also see the latest activities, like the application has been updated successfully and who has updated it, right? So if you go to the application events, So this will take a while because it's trying to collect all the metrics for us. So under this, you will be able to see, which application got updated and when was it updated. Okay, so you can see this from here, like Mern Social has gone through 5 updates and it has happened just today. So all these information you can collect and then visualize all from a single place. So no other, event has happened because it's just the demo that we have. So hopefully, you found this simple and interesting. So give this a try. And if you're really looking at trying out the community edition, you can actually go to our GitHub project. So you go to github.com, gopaddle-io, and under this you have a microcadles community edition, which has all the steps that are required to set up microcadles add-on. So you can just have your microcadles environment on your Mac or on your desktop, and then just bring this up instantaneously. The only requirement, especially if you're bringing this up on a Mac environment, just make sure that your virtual machine that you use has a minimum capacity that is specified. Though we have specified, 8 virtual CPUs and 32 GB RAM, this is not really a hard requirement. Even with 4 virtual CPUs and 8 GB RAM, you should be able to bring up this whole environment. So we're still optimizing this and making it even more lightweight, but for the time being, we need at least 4 virtual CPUs and 16 GB RAM. Hope you all enjoy this session today. So look forward for the next week. We have an interesting speaker, and he is going to do a demo of how he used gopaddle to deploy and manage applications using the community edition. Thank you all, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.